Welcome back, folks, once again to another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Paul Vold, wrapping up another week of Granite City Lumberjacks hockey, a weekend sweep. We have head coach for your Lumberjacks, DJ Vold, joining us once again. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by this week.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, 12-0 now on the season with a home-and-home matchup that you had over the weekend against Alexandria. We'll start off with the game on Friday. It was up at their place. They did have, of course, both of you teams, a bit of a fast start for both squads there early on there. Just how'd you feel about the boys coming right off the bus there and competing right away in that first period?
I thought we played okay in the first period. Obviously, we came out with the lead. Anytime you give up a goal that late in the period with under 3 minutes left, it's kind of a momentum killer. So I thought we were pretty flat in the second. They kind of took it to us, and then we finally showed up and played for the most part in the third, and that's kind of the result we get when we show up and play.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to mention too, of course, with it being kind of a stalwart period in that second for sure. They tied the game. Then in the third, you were able to get a couple of bounces there. From that third period, how'd you really feel about the team, ultimately getting the lead and able to, finish that game with the win?
Yeah, I thought we defended well, and normally if we defend well, it usually leads to us being on offense and scoring goals. So I'm a firm believer in if you can keep the puck out of your net, you're going to win a lot of games, and that's something we still got to get better at.
Yeah, one thing also from that game on Friday as well, Emmett Ryder on the unfortunate end of a puck, and then ultimately he gets a little bit banged up too, to the extent of his injury, a few stitches to piece him back together, but is he still holding up all right after the weekend?
Yeah, he's good. He had a little bit of his ear dangling off, so he got it pieced back together, and then from there, I think he'll probably be on the ice tomorrow, and we'll just try and keep pucks and sticks and people away from his ear for a couple days.
Well, we certainly do hope for that. Then carrying into the game on Saturday, of course, contest, you ended up winning in overtime once again here. Feeling out early in the contest too. There was a little bit of back and forth there, but as the game kind of moved along, the physicality did ramp up in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game, Granite City versus Alexandria. You're going to get fireworks. You're going to get emotion. Physical play is always part of it, but overall I thought it was kind of the opposite story the night before, where I felt like we came out and were ready to go, and then as the game went on, I thought the second period was pretty good too, and then the third period we kind of just let them do whatever they wanted, and they scored two and tie the game, and we got to win it in overtime.
Yeah, of course, that's one thing. Another thing we wanted to mention, too, was getting that lead lost late in the third period, too. Just seemed a little bit like the team just kind of, just put it on cruise control there and just kind of let Alexandria bring the play to them.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, part of the early portion of the year is learning how to win, and you have to keep playing and keep applying pressure in order to make winning a little easier. So, unfortunately, we sat back and kind of let them come at us full force, and go figure, the puck goes in the net twice, and we kind of find ourselves scrambling the last 3 minutes of the period.
And of course, you finished the game off as well with that overtime winner from Micah Saxon, who we had on last week's show there. Just a little bit of a glaze for us in the Coach's Corner realm. But you had a couple of chances there, of course, with a couple of changes in the overtime frame. But when you look at the play overall, I mean, you see Micah Saxon way wide open from that point. Everybody's down to the other end, and he was just able to get it over the shoulder there, the goaltender, for the win.
Yeah, at that point, you're just praying he catches the pass, and then from there, you're praying for it to go in. I mean, it was a clear-cut breakaway from basically the red line in. So you want guys like Micah Saxon on the ice because they're going to get him to go in, and happy for him. He's kind of been in a little bit of a slump lately, so hopefully this breaks him out of it, but obviously we'll take the 2 points and run with them.
Of course, now a transition back to the road here coming up this weekend. Mason City, of course, you had them earlier at home here for Miller Buick GMC Arena. It was a couple of tough contests, too, that took all the way down to the very end there. Now you take it to the road. What do you see here for this week of practice, just to kind of fine-tune a few things?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to touch on special teams, D-zone obviously, and then from there just making sure we've got good chemistry with our lines. It's the first time we've been down to Mason City this year too, so we'll see how we handle the environment. Obviously it's a big rink, really nice rink, and with Mason City being an older group, they're going to be ready to go and they're going to come after us right away. So if we're not ready, it's going to be a long weekend.
Again, head coach for your Granite City Lumberjacks, DJ Vold, joins us here this week on Coach's Corner. Lumberjacks going to be hitting the road for a pair of contests down in Mason City against the Toros Friday and Saturday. Be sure to stay up to date, full score schedules, and much more by going to na3hl.com. We'll be back here with more Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Paul Vold. More after this. Welcome back here to Coach's Corner with your Granite City Lumberjacks. I'm your host, Paul Vold, as we welcome in our player interview. We've got number 22, Easton Sankey, joining us this week. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, a weekend sweep for the boys over Alexandria, game on the road and on the home too. Let's start off with that game that happened on the road Friday night. Of course, you get a little bit of a good scoring touch there, a couple of goals there for you in that first period. But overall in the contest, how'd your team really come out to at least to start off in that game against Alex?
You know, I think we had a pretty good start, and then we kind of just let off the gas a bit, kind of let them hang around. But then, you know, we picked it back up in the third period. You know, obviously nice to see the puck go in, and two great plays from my teammates. I can't really take too much credit for those. They're setting me up nice. But yeah, you know, Alex is a really good team. They're always a good team. They're fast, and you know, they kind of got us for a bit, but you know, we got them back pretty good.
Absolutely. Of course, a little bit of foreshadowing and letting off the gas there leading into Saturday's game. But before we get to that game on Saturday, let's talk about you here for a second. We had you on the show last year there a little bit towards the middle of the season. And then at a point, you know, you come towards the middle portion of the season, then you actually head over to Northeast for a handful of games, but you're back here again. What kind of made that decision for you to come back to Granite City this year?
You know, I just had so much fun here last year. You know, it's I can't really ask for a better setup, you know, where I'm staying, and I can't really ask for a better team, a better, you know, playing here and having all the fans out. It's so much different, you know, going out east and you know, having 4 or 5 people in the stands, and they're all parents, right? So you come here and you got the place rocking. It kind of, you know, I don't know. It's just so much easier to wake up for the games and be ready and want to, you know, keep grinding as hard as possible to try to, you know, win as many games as possible for the fans and stuff. It was really a no-brainer for me. I don't really want to play anywhere else.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you back, too. Of course, the season has been off to a really good start here. Now let's talk about the game that happened on Saturday. Team gets up here early as well. A little bit of a feeling out first period plus there. How'd you feel from the game on Friday night going into Saturday to at least, you know, you've seen them already and they're coming out here trying to get things going early?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I definitely think you know, it's tough for us, obviously being on kind of a hot streak. A lot of the times we're kind of coming into games thinking that we can just show up and win, right? Like, you know, every team's going to give us their best. Every team's coming for our throats, especially when we're at home. So we kind of got a little complacent there. We you know, didn't start hot. Had a pretty good second period. I can never really remember the games too well, but a pretty good second period, and then third period we just, I don't know, let them hang around until we decided, you know, let's maybe win this game. And you know, I'm glad we can do that. But
absolutely, of course, with it being up 3-1 in the second period, going into the third, there they ultimately tie things up. Overtime, a lot of things happen, of course, with the 3-on-3 format. From your point of view there, of course, you're seeing much of the action there in that overtime frame. You see the puck go down on the far end there, and then you see Micah Saxon, who's between, you know, center ice lane and then obviously the blue line. No green sweater to be within sight. What are you seeing there from the bench as that play is developing?
Well, first I'm questioning how there's no one near him, like at all. But second, you know, I see obviously someone that you want to have the puck on their stick in overtime, and I went when he was coming in. I went over to I think I was sitting next to Dodger. I just called game right there, and then it went in. So, you know, obviously I'm pretty confident in my teammates, and it's nice to see them kind of have a good shot there and you know, get to be the hero and all that jazz, you know.
Absolutely. A sweep on the weekend now makes it 12-0 on the season for your Lumberjacks. You guys hit the road here coming up here against Mason City. You saw them earlier here at home. Also a couple of competitive games here. What do you guys see here as a week of practice preparing for that road trip down to Mason City? Some things to look at for the matchup coming up.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely, I remember playing them earlier this season. They kind of shocked us a bit with how good they are this season. They're old. They got a lot of returners. So it's going to be a it's going to be a good battle. The whole time it's physical with them every time. It's dump the puck and go work in their zone and type stuff. So we just got to make sure that we're working on the right stuff in practice and really like being intentional with what we're doing in practice and just being more mentally prepared as well when we show up. And road trips are a little tougher to get your legs under you right away. So we got to make sure we're just being smart with our bodies this week and recovering as much as possible, and then being attentive as well.
Absolutely. We've got number 22, Easton Sankey, joining us here this week on Coach's Corner. Again, your Lumberjacks on the road against Mason City. That will be against the Toros Friday and Saturday. Stay up to date scores and schedules for those broadcasts coming up on na3hl.com. You ready for some rapid fire questions, sir?
I'm always ready.
All right, we like that. We got a little bit of an update here from last year, the last few weeks too. I got a few new questions in the mix. Cool. But we got to start things off here. Of course, the staple questions. Pre-game routine, does it start right away in the morning, right when you get to the rink? What kind of gets you ready there for game day?
Yeah, it usually starts in the morning. I don't really set an alarm. I just try to sleep as good as possible. And then around 12 o'clock, I go on a little walk. I go down this trail, and then I do some warm-ups, come back, and sit on this bench and listen to some music for a bit, look at the clouds and all that, and then go back. I'll eat a chicken patty, and then I'll take a nap. And I wake up and I take a cold shower, and then I eat 2 more chicken patties, and then I go to the rink, and then I got my stuff there as well with all the warm ups and touch bellies with Cushy and Wazzy just for good luck, and just a ton of weird stuff.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Let's you address the one thing there. Chicken patties. Anything else with like a pregame meal, or is that try to keep it kind of light?
No, I try to eat the same thing every time. I have a banana in the morning as well, but most game days that's all that I'm eating. I'll eat an apple as well. I'll allow that, but I try not to really deviate too much from that. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
All right, I like that. Of course, now with the addition of red helmets this season for the Lumberjacks, if you could dress the team top to bottom, helmets, jerseys, socks, breezers, all that, what are you going to send the team out on the ice with?
Right. So with what we got,
with what we've got, yep.
Well, I want to see the all red come out. I would really like to see that. I'd say. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd maybe go just red buckets, white jerseys, and then red covers and white socks.
I like that.
So I like the red and white. I like the red and white.
That's a good one there. A lot of kids on the team here played high school hockey in Minnesota. Who is the guy on the team that probably has the biggest pride in their high school program, just saying like our team could beat your team, blindfolded or what have you?
I'm sure Guyan wants to say that his team can beat my team, but not when I was there. Was and Gesso is they did beat us quite a bit. But, I think that's probably it. Uthout probably, he scored on us a couple times in high school, but they never really got the wins. So, hey, I still got one up on him.
Which pair on the team has the most interesting rookie-vet dynamic? Just, are they just kind of a couple of weird guys or what have you? Who's got the most interesting rookie-vet dynamic?
Either Micah and Plotter, or Manny and Ray.
Okay.
Just two. I don't know. You'd have to experience them to really understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might have to have them come on the show next week so we can get the full feel of it. What is one thing in your life that you cannot live without?
My bed, for sure. I love my bed.
Absolutely.
And then I'd probably say chicken as well. I love chicken. That's all I eat. I don't really know how to make anything else.
Favorite emoji that you use in conversation all the time on the phone?
I use the laughing one a lot, but then I also use this one.
Nice.
Just because I don't know, Shaka. I think that's what it means.
I like that. Go-to move in the shootout in practice?
Usually missing, but if I'm not missing, I come in on the right side, and then I'll either try to flick it over their shoulder, or if they're biting on that, I'll go backhand.
I like that. All right, we got a couple more here for you. We're coming up on the Winter Olympics coming up. If you could be an Olympian in a specific sport for the Winter Olympics, what is it?
That is a good question. Well, not hockey.
Not hockey.
Not
yes,
hockey.
We'll take that out of the equation there for you.
Bobsledding's pretty cool.
I like that.
Bobsledding's pretty cool. I think I'd go with that.
All right, we got Thanksgiving coming up here in a few weeks. What is on your first Thanksgiving plate for the whole spread there?
Usually 3 rolls of bread,
Okay.
and then some turkey, and some ham, and I cut it off there.
Okay,
That's
I
it.
like that.
That's
All
it.
right.
I've been getting into some stuffing.
Okay.
I can do that, but you know, got to start trying some more stuff. Maybe.
Absolutely. Okay, last question here for you. You're sitting at the kids' table there for Thanksgiving. You and 3 guys on the team. Who is at that kids' table?
All right, Ray is there.
Obviously.
Luke Anderson.
Okay.
He's also going to be there, and then oh gosh, I think Colton Wassengesso has to be there as well.
I like that. I like that.
I think he's ahead of the table too.
I love that. I love that. Easton Sankey joins us here this week on Coach's Corner. Again, Lumberjacks going to be on the road at Mason City. Be sure to check out everything with your Granite City Lumberjacks by following us on our social media platforms, and check out score schedules and much more by going to na3hl.com. I'm your host, Paul Vold. This is Coach's Corner. We'll check in with you guys next week.